Hey best friend, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Ask Nikki. I know we are long awaited, girl. This is literally the third time that I'm filming this video, but I love you and I know that a lot of you guys need my mediocre advice, so I am here to provide that for y'all. Okay, so my life has been a fucking mess. Today we're not going to be talking about me. Today we're going to be going through my Ask Nickies that I have received via my Instagram. If you're not following me on my socials, I will leave them here for you guys. If you guys want to participate in my next Ask Nikki, definitely follow me on my Instagram so I can see your Ask Nikki submissions. I take them on my stories, so keep an eye out on those. But today we're going to be going over my Glamazon's Ask Nikki questions, and you guys can get my mediocre advice if you want to take it. Cool. If not, at least it was fun. Definitely grab your wine, grab your snacks, everything you need, and let's get into the chismeando and what you guys have been going through and what y'all been getting into. I'm gonna grab my trusty bestie right here, my little holder for my phone. I'm gonna try to answer as many questions as I possibly can, so without further ado, let's jump right into them. Jumping into our first question. I work at Walmart and I make good money, but it's kind of depressing. Do I quit? Here's all I'm gonna say. Life is very, very, very short, all right? And even when you are making good money, if it's not good for your mental health, it really isn't worth the trade-off. So what I would say is not to quit immediately, but definitely start thinking of an escape plan and have your backup plan ready to go. Like whether it's, starting your own business or like, working for another company, whatever, going back to school, whatever your goal may be, make sure you have like a backup plan. But most do not stay at a place that is depressing you, girl, because our mental health is so important. And if working here is bringing you into a dark place and you're not happy, that's a no for me. Me being your bestie, I would say make an escape plan and then start working towards that so you can peace the fuck out. How to stop my sister-in-law from calling/texting me talking sideways about my husband. Girl, look, let me tell you something. Here's the thing. When it comes to family dynamics, I just feel like I don't like getting involved in family dynamics. I really don't. Here's how I feel about it because of the way that I was raised. My family dynamic with my brother, I only have one sibling. So it's very easy for me to like, whatever I need to tell my brother, I tell him. Like, I don't understand this whole, sometimes people like will go to the in-law about their brother or their sister, and I literally don't understand it because like you grew up with this person, like I don't need to go to my brother's girl to tell her about my brother, like I can go to my brother and be like, hey, like you're getting on my last nerve, don't talk to me like that, like I have an issue, this, that, and the mother. We are brother and sister, so I just don't understand the need to get a hold of my sister-in-law. Y'all already know I'm really big into communication, confrontation. Confrontation doesn't always have to be a negative. It just means like clearing the air. But if it were me and my sister-in-law was trying to text me talking shit about my mans, I would be real quick to be like, that sucks. But you need to get a hold of him. Like, that's your brother. Maybe y'all should do brunch or something. Like, try to help her plan a place and a time to talk to her brother, because I don't need to be hearing none of this. And at the end of the day, I am his confidant. I am in his corner. I am his teammate. I'm his soulmate. I am his forever. I am his team player. I am his biggest fan. You can't come to me and start talking shit about him and pretend and like act like I'm gonna sit here and just sit beside you and be like, yup, that's right. Like, no, like my loyalty lies with him. He's my husband. Y'all are siblings. So if y'all are siblings, I just feel like I need not be a part of this. Like, I don't need to be a part of the chisme, that's bad about my husband. I don't want to be put in this position. So I would be real fast to be like, hey, maybe you should discuss this with him. Tell him how you're feeling. Do you want me to help you plan brunch? Like, really try to set up a time. Like, if she's having a problem, figuring out a way to talk to him, I would probably help with that. But like, don't come to me just to come to me to talk shit. Now, if they don't have any intentions of like making things right or seeing eye to eye or, just kind of coming to an understanding with their sibling, I need not be a part of this. I'm not here to be a part of a bashing fest of my own spouse. You know what I mean? That's a little awkward. Deal with her brother on her own. Okay, this is putting me in a very awkward spot. I'm stressing out about not finding my passion and just mindlessly working forever. Any advice? Yes. Stop worrying about it. Don't stress about it. It's not worth it. Whatever your passion is, it will reveal itself to you. It probably already has. what I have noticed in my own experience is like my passions were things that I was genuinely interested in when I was a little girl. Like really, if you were struggling to find your passion, really sit down and think about what you were interested in when you were a little kid. Whether like, you know, like when you had those obsessions when you were like 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, and it was things that you couldn't let go of that you really worked hard for every single day. Mine, and it's crazy because mine really was storytelling, and I was obsessed with that through book reading. I just read and read and read and read. I loved escaping reality with books. I would be out in my grandma's backyard up in a tree bitch reading books all day, really learning intros and middle and climax and like the antagonist, the protagonist, putting stories together. And look, this is what I love to do. And many people love to downplay storytellers, but like literally your whole life is nothing but storytellers telling stories for you. You love going to the movies, storyteller. You love watching reality TV shows, storytelling. You love everything that you love is around storytelling. I didn't know what my passion was until I started reverting back to what I genuinely loved and was interested in as a child. And it revealed my passion, which is storytelling, which could like, you know, flow into directing, producing, you know, being in the movie industry, things like that. Like I've always been really interested in that and like bringing stories to life. And that was something that I was genuinely interested in as a child. So don't put too much stress on it. Your passion isn't supposed to be stressful or make you feel anxious or anything like that. Like don't overcomplicate it. Like really think about what it is that you genuinely love doing and how you could do that to benefit others, and bam, you'll find your passion. But if it doesn't reveal itself to you immediately, don't stress out about it. It will eventually. With the whole mindlessly working forever, we all have to be in those jobs just like to make ends meet. My only piece of advice would be don't get too comfortable in that position. Like don't get too comfortable being in this place. Even if you're making good money, even if, you know, it's comfortable, don't settle, because your passion will take you beyond your wildest dreams. And it really is, being uncomfortable means growth, and if you're not uncomfortable, you're just kind of stagnant, and like you're so much bigger than that. So do things that make you uncomfortable as far as like creativity is concerned, production, and just kind of thinking outside of the box. But if I had any piece of advice for you, your passion is laying within your childhood memories. I guarantee it. Hey, Nikki, I love you so much, but getting to the point, I had a baby at 14 and I've been living with my in-laws since then. And my first baby, I was in school and I felt like my mother-in-law was always overstepping. I understand now I was really young and in school, but there was a lot I didn't agree with since it was my son. Now I'm 18, already done with school and still living with him, and I'm about to have my second baby, and I'm worried that she's gonna overstep again. How can I make my needs met without hurting her feelings or starting arguments? I personally have never been in this situation. I can understand how hard this can be. I get that like you were, you know, a young mom, so it makes sense that his mom may have stepped in as almost a parental figure to both you and your baby to kind of guide you to being a new mommy, and also housing you and like, you know, kind of taking you in while you were pregnant and having your baby and all of those things. So it maybe gave her a sense of entitlement when it came to having an opinion or making decisions on your behalf when it came to your son. I get that. I understand that. So now you're about to have your second baby. You're still living in their home. And now there are certain things that you don't really agree with, especially with your first child. You don't want that to continue to happen with your second child. Here's my thought on it. I feel like because you guys had your first child pretty young, his mom kind of stepped in and took the place of kind of like a mother figure, trying to help you guys make decisions. And what started out to be help at first kind of started becoming this is how it is and what I say goes type of behavior. Turns out that she maybe isn't really taking your opinion or her son's opinion into consideration when it comes to her grand. You know what I'm gonna say? I would literally have a very calm conversation with my man's mother over cafecito, tea, just a very relaxed conversation, and I would let her know number one, first and foremost, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you've done. I appreciate all of the sacrifices you've made. I appreciate everything that you've taught me. I appreciate you 100%. I just need you to know that if I haven't told you that before. I'm telling you now, you are so important. Your opinion matters to me. Like, really let her know that her place is very much appreciated. Number one. Then you go on to number two. But and however, it's at this point that you bring up the things that qualify you to be trusted with this scenario, letting her know I'm ready to take this on my own. Here's how I would phrase it. When you met me, I was all on my own, and you took me in when I needed you the most. You held me down. You supported me through my pregnancy. You saw me through my delivery with my son. You helped me take care of my infant, and for that, I'm forever grateful and forever indebted to you. Now, you taught me a lot as a first-time mom, and watching you, I have gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. So when I have this baby, I really would like to try to take over the reins myself and really implement the things that you've taught me over the years. And I just really want to prove not only to you, but to myself that I can be a really great mother on my own. So if you wouldn't mind, I would really like to take over the decision making for my kids going forward. I'm graduated now. I'm furthering my education. I have my job, etc. I'm experienced now, and it was with the help of you. So with that being said, I would really appreciate it if whatever decisions you were trying to make for my kids, if you ran it by me first so that I could participate in that decision making. And as time goes on, I would like to take the reins with their father to be the decision making force for our kids, because at the end of the day, he is the father, I'm the mommy, and we just really want to take our place and take our responsibility seriously. This is in no way meaning that I want to take anything away from you. I would let her know you have done so much for me. You have even taken the role of a mother. However, you deserve to be just a grandmother. That type of conversation where, like, because I know that you're living with her and you don't want to ruffle any feathers or cause any arguments, and I feel like this could be the most beautiful way to map it out. Like, at the end of the day, I was given this responsibility. You took on this responsibility out of the goodness of your heart, and I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I am the mother. You don't even have to go into like, hey, I was uncomfortable when you made this, and this decision. But at this point, I would just like tell her, I am ready now. I am well trained now. I have learned a lot from you. So I'm ready to make these decisions with my man for our kids, and all you have to worry about is being the grandma, because that's all you should have to worry about. You didn't sign up for this. You've already raised your kids, and for that I respect you. And so now it is time for you to take your place as the grandmother, and you allow us to deal with the nitty-gritty of raising these kids. That's how I would present it to her, and kind of let her know I need there to be a boundary now, because I'm older and I'm more mature and I've gained this experience thanks to you, and I would really like to just walk in that path and walk in my place as their mother, and I need your support to do so. Memories and your kids' lives are something that you'll never get back. So if there are things that you're not comfortable with, it's better for you to nip it now and put your foot down now that your kids are so young, because the last thing you need is for you to have preteens and teenagers that have a grandmother that genuinely believes that she's the mother, that is overstepping what you are saying, your rules, your boundaries, your parenting, like all, it can become a big mess. I would suggest that you have this conversation now rather than later in order to establish a boundary and an understanding. It doesn't have to be ugly or disrespectful. It can just be very simple. You've taught me a lot. I would like to walk in that and be given the opportunity to show you everything that I've learned as a mother thanks to you. Period. 11 years, and I'm still not sure I should marry my partner, but we are going strong. Should we? Girl, look, let me tell you something. David and I were together for 6 years before even getting engaged. And I knew that I wanted to marry him after 4 years. Like, it took me a minute, bitch. It really did. But I have my own trauma, trust issues, all of this shit that I was like, baggage that I was bringing from my childhood, like my fears. So it took me a little longer to like be comfortable with the thought of marriage and be like, okay, you know, this is it. Just because it worked out like this for my family doesn't mean it's gonna work out that way for me. It took me a few years, but it never was because of David or anything that he was doing, or you know, anything that he was making me feel. It was my own thing. So first and foremost, you have to discern what you're feeling is trauma from your past, whether it's from your childhood. Maybe you came from divorced parents, maybe you came from a family with a bunch of divorce, turmoil, separation. I know that I did. There were so many people in my family that, you know, had failed marriages. They couldn't co-parent. You know, it was just commonplace. As I was growing up, I was like, you know, this is basically extinct. Like, you know, people getting married, being happily ever after does not exist. But I had to learn that it wasn't fair for me to put that on the person that I was with that loved me very much. If you are feeling unsure because of the relationship, that is a whole completely other different thing, okay? If by 11 years this man's is not making you feel secure, happy, sexy, heard, understood, supported, all of those things that come with being in a relationship, by now you're not feeling that, girl, let me tell you something. Life is too short. Life is too motherfucking short. If 11 years still isn't in your heart of hearts telling you that you could live the rest of your life with this man, don't do it. I understand you guys are still going strong, and just because there isn't a fire doesn't mean that that's not enough of a reason for you to move on. People wait until something extravagant happens, or like something heartbreaking or groundbreaking or something happens for them to move on, even though they weren't really happy all along. Don't wait. Just because things are kind of calm doesn't mean that you have to settle. If you are not happy with the way that you're being treated, if he's not speaking your love language, if there's just not this, it has to be like a spiritual connection. It really does. It's a connection of the spirit. And if you're not feeling that, dude, you deserve to feel that. You deserve to feel the romance and feel this like spiritual connection. And if you don't, that's okay. It doesn't mean that he's a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that the spark isn't there. Maybe you guys are not soulmates, you know? Maybe you guys are just in each other's lives for a season. That's fine. But you don't want to feel this way for 30, 40, 50 years to come and just feel like, you know, but like everything has always been calm. Like, no, bitch. Like, you deserve to feel those butterflies and to feel wanted and that romance and that, you know, that passion. Come on, girl. Gotta figure out where the hang up is, and then from there I think it'll help you figure out what you should do. But if you're not happy and you don't feel complete bliss and like this is your person, girl, move on. Okay. What is your opinion on urban legends? It depends. Okay. It really does depend. I believe in La Llorona 100%. But I don't know if I believe in Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like, it really does have to come with like a lot of evidence. I feel like Mexican urban legends are just like a lot more creepy and believable, and like so many people have witnessed and heard these things. But there are certain urban legends like Bigfoot. What's another urban legend? Oh, what's that one? The one that lives in the lakes, Lessie, the Loch Ness Monster. I don't think I believe in the Loch Ness Monster. So it really does depend. But I'm hella into just learning about urban legends and hearing about it. But whether or not I believe in it depends. My relationship with my mom is struggling, and I'm trying to fix it, and she doesn't want to hear it. You know, trying to converse and connect with parents can be very tricky, because a lot of our parents lived a whole ass lifetime before we even came into the picture, which is really hard to imagine. You know, like when I was a kid, I didn't understand why my mom was the way that she was, and I had to remind myself, beach, like, she had a whole ass life before having me. My mom didn't have me until she was 26 years old. So she had already had like her whole experience through school, her first love, you know, dating, relationship, all of those things that created her into the person that she was by the time I was born, much less when I'm a teenager or early adult, to help me understand why why she was the way that she was, and everything that completed my mother as a person. So definitely keep that in mind, because a lot of times whenever we don't see eye to eye with our parents, it really does have a lot to do with, number one, they had a whole ass life, whole other experiences and things like that they've seen and learned before you were even here. So they feel like they're right, their convictions are right, everything that they say is right. But also, on the same token, a lot of our parents, they bring their own trauma, their own struggle, their own upbringing, all of their baggage. They bring that to the forefront, and they allow that to have a part in who they are as parents. And sometimes that can be detrimental for you. And that's the part where we have to try our best to convey that to our parents. Like, hey, I know that this has like been generations in the making, but it's not working for me. And it makes me feel very unloved or unheard, or, like I'm not enough. Like, you're not proud of me, or this isn't my love language, or those things that make you who you are as a person, and the things that you need in order to feel accepted and loved and heard. Having a struggling relationship with your mom is super normal, number one. Number two, I feel like nowadays, like our generation and the newer generation, we're becoming more open-minded about mental health and therapy, and really like self-care beyond just the outward self-care, like not just massages and facials and shit, like really self-care. We're a lot more aware of mental health, and I think that a lot of families are having more conversations about family therapy, marriage counseling, just therapy on your own. And so if there's something in particular that your mom is projecting onto you or affecting you with, and it really is stemming from her own, experience, her own trauma, her own baggage, I would advise you to have a conversation with your mom and really speak from the heart and just be like, hey mom, like I love you, I really do. But this situation is not something that I created, therefore I can't fix it. But it is affecting how your ability to support me, your ability to love me unconditionally, your ability to do A, B, and C that I need you for, because you're my mom. So like, would you consider therapy? Can we go to a group therapy or a therapy like me and you both together? Like you don't have to do this by yourself, but I'm willing to do this and invest into this and go head first into therapy with you because I love you and our relationship means a lot to me, and I would just really like to get to know you on a different level, and for you to understand that you are understood and appreciated and loved, and you have the tools necessary to love and support me the way that I need you to, because you are my mom. That's how I would handle it. But honestly, girl, having issues with your mama is so normal. But if it's to the point where you feel like you guys aren't seeing eye to eye at all, that's what I would suggest, honestly. Having your mom have your back is so important, but they have to be like of the right mindset to help you out. So what do I do when the father of my children doesn't believe in marriage, but I do? I love you. This is a really hard one because there are, a few different stances on marriage, but the two most prominent are either I believe in marriage, I believe in the sanctity of marriage, I believe in the commitment of marriage, okay. And then on the other side, there are people that are like, you know what? I love you. I love you with all my soul, my spirit, my heart. That should be enough. Like, why does it have to be legal? This is just a paper. Like it's really not necessary. They go back to the past, like people didn't get married in the caveman ages or what the fuck ever. And everybody has the right to their own opinion when it comes to this huge decision in their lives. However, if you are not seeing eye to eye with your partner about this, that's huge, because if this is something that you truly want, love, like in your spirit, and like you want to be married, you want to be somebody's wife, that should be taken into consideration, because right now all that's being considered is his opinion about this topic. And I just feel like this is one of those topics that deserves to be discussed, and a compromise should be made. Whether that's like, maybe, I guess my question would be, what is his reasoning? Is it just, the generic, I just believe that it's for legal purposes, like it really doesn't mean anything, I'm gonna love her the same regardless, this, that, and the third? I really would like to hear his reasoning behind it. And then I would like to hear your reasoning. If it were me, I would talk to my mans and be like, okay, let's make a list, okay? Like, just for shits and giggles. I love a good debate. What are your reasons for not wanting to get married? Okay, that's, right? Like, you write all of it down. Okay. And then on the other side, I would be like, okay, well, these are my reasons for why I would want to get married. And it doesn't always have to be about commitment or looks or, you know, social status or any of that. It could just be like making promises to one another, having vows to each other, making a promise before God. You could even get, you know, legal tax purposes, tax write-offs. We pay less money every year. We can own assets together. We can start businesses together. It's a lot easier in that sense. This, that, like, you know, there are heavy pros to being married. So I would be interested in like doing a pros and cons list, and then based off of that, coming up with a compromise. Maybe there's a way that you guys can elope, and it doesn't have to be such a big deal. Maybe he doesn't want a huge wedding with all these people and paying for all these people. We're individualistic, but when it comes to bringing two people together, it really does matter that you hear the other person and that you take their feelings into consideration when it comes to something like this. There are certain elements of being married that makes everyday life simpler, and I would definitely bring those things to the forefront. But at the end of the day, if you want to be married, love, your feelings and your wants matter in this life, I would definitely try to come up with a compromise with him. And when it comes to being in a relationship, compromise is everything. It would behoove him to try to come to the table and make a decision with you and not make a decision for you. How to cope and deal with the loss of a pet. Girl, look, listen, okay, some people don't really understand this. Like, they be trying to like laugh it off, like, oh my God, like, it's really not a big deal. It's just a dog. It's just a cat. It's just a bird. Like, they really just, they be using that "it's just" term, and it really, okay, like, it really be making me want to fight, because I'm like, no, my best friend was a fucking bird. Like, don't call him just a bird. Like, he was my best friend. He was my home skillet, okay? Like, that was like my spirit animal. What you mean? They are a part of your everyday mundane life, okay? It doesn't matter what you're doing, you know, where you are in the house. It doesn't matter. Your everyday routine, your pet is like in there, intertwined every single day. And yes, you may get used to it. You may be frustrated with it. You may not even notice it. But when they pass and you're dealing with that loss, all of a sudden your everyday mundane life and your everyday routine is deeply affected, because they were always right there. Whether it's your dog, your cat, your bird, your gerbil, whatever, they were always right there. You just get used to seeing them. You get used to cuddling with them. You get used to them, you know, like laying up beside you in bed, and all of a sudden they're not there. That's the hardest part, is having a routine without them. So I understand you, for any of you guys that have lost a pet. I feel you. I understand. It's really not a laughing matter. I can't stand when people try to like make light of the situation or make you feel ridiculous for feeling upset about your pet passing, because I get it. The only piece of advice, this is going to sound cliche, is time. Try to change up your routine a little bit, even just a little bit. Like, maybe add something in there. Maybe wake up a little earlier. Maybe, you know, add going to the gym. Add something into your routine where you're not completely focused on their absence. When you change up your routine, it makes it a little bit easier, and it hits your heart a little less than living the same routine and they're not there. At least if you change up your routine just a little bit, their absence isn't the only thing that changed. I'm so sorry for your loss, my love. I feel for you, and I hope this helps. There's this cute single guy at my job I want to get close to. How do I let him know I'm interested? We've talked a bit on the job, but how do I transfer it over to one-on-one? Girl, that's easy. That is so easy. Okay, when it comes to like dudes that you're working with, a lot of times you just like working with them, you kind of figure out their interests. And I'm sure like he said it, there has been some point that he says it, whether it's basketball, football, anime, video games, whatever the case may be, he has definitely said it. Boys are very upfront about the things that they're interested in. You know, things are kind of opening up now. Maybe ask if he wants to go to a game with you, or if he really likes anime. Maybe ask if he wants to go see the new Demon Slayer movie with you. You know, like there are ways to kind of like maneuver your way, like, ooh, you know, I like that too. Would you like to do it with me? Now you're asking somebody that has always been very upfront and center. Okay, even when I was younger, before I was married, before I was dating David, I was, just because I moved a lot, I just really didn't care about what people thought of me, especially boys. So I was just like, if I'm interested in you, I'm interested in you. Like, I had no problem telling them. And oftentimes I found that that worked the best for me, to just be like, hey, I like you. Like, what's up with it? Like, reel his ass in, girl. Definitely hone in on the interests, but girl, if it were me, I'm trying to give you some roundabout ways to tell him, but if it were me, I would just be like, look, I think you're cute. What's up with it? How do you deal with a crazy, overprotective mother? I wish that I had an answer for you. I guess the only thing that I could say is the way that I dealt with my overprotective mother was showing her that I'm smart, that I am cunning, that I am articulate, that I can see the full picture, that she doesn't have to worry about me. I think my mom's biggest fear was like that something would happen around me and that I wouldn't notice it, or I wouldn't be privy to it happening. And I think a lot of times our moms have to see, oh my God, like my daughter, like look, listen, okay, she pays attention to everything. Overprotective mom is being overprotective ultimately to keep you safe, because at the end of the day, girl, we live in a crazy ass world. They're crazy ass people. So, and like that mean you harm, the literal moment that they see you, and your mom being here for 30, 40, 50 plus years, she has seen all of those things when you haven't. And that was probably the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle that my mom and I had to get over together, because my mom was just like, no, 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 like you can't do these things because it's dangerous. And I was taking it as my mom didn't want me to do these things because she don't want me to live my life. Now that I'm older, I see all of the dangers, and I see all of the red signs and the red flags, and like, you know, the fact of the matter is that we live in a very crazy, sick world. But my mom, obviously, she has had to back up off me and allow me to make my own decisions. But she feels a lot more comfortable when I put her at ease by letting her know I've taken everything that you've said into consideration, all of the lessons that you've taught me, and trust when I tell you your daughter isn't stupid. I'm not going to allow myself to get too drunk at a party. I'm not going to put myself in crazy situations. I'm not going to, like, you know, go out and do dangerous shit or be around people that I don't really know that well. Like, I got street smarts. I have my common sense. Like, I'm using all of these things to make sure that I am safe. Once our moms see that we are using those tools to keep ourselves safe, then they kind of like lessen their grip on the reins, because ultimately this is coming from a place of love. And there are so many mommies out there that their kids go missing, girl, and she just doesn't want to be the next one. So cut your mama some slack. Hopefully she can cut you some slack. But what worked for me is letting my mom know I am not stupid. I see everything that there is to be seen. Trust, if I'm out there, I'm being smart, because that's how you raised me to be. And usually that does the trick. So hopefully that'll help, girl. I know you're a busy mom and a boss bitch. How do you balance everything in life? I don't always, obviously. I just came back from a sabbatical from having like just complete depression, you know, anxiety up the ass. Like, you know, it's completely normal to not have your shit together all the time. And I'm learning that, and I'm just kind of coming to terms with that. And that's the advice that I'm passing on to you. It is completely okay to not be fully and completely in balance, okay? So, you know, when the time arises, that's fine. But when it comes to everyday life and just trying to balance everything, it really is about time management. It is about self-love and self-care. Before I learned about the importance of self-love and self-care, I was just kind of like throwing myself into every situation. I became a mommy of 3 like this, and I felt like I need to give them everything that I have and every moment that I have and every piece of energy that I have. But what I started realizing is that when I burn myself out like that, then it takes me a while to repair and to recover, which takes me away from them inevitably. So what I've learned is that balance really is crucial, and time management is going to be your best friend. All of these things have to get done regardless. If you're an adult, you are dealing with this shit all on your own. Housework, raising the kids, your job, your marriage, your family, none of those things stop. So it's just about compartmentalizing every single part of your day. And so that way you have a sense of ownership of your time. And time is everything. So I've learned that going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, that's my jam. That's what helps me. Having a moment in the morning of peace and quiet, girl, when I tell you, priceless. Okay, it really does set the tone for my day, because if I wake up late and then I wake up to my crying kids and everything, it's crisis mode and everybody is just agitated, they're hungry, I have to go right into breakfast, the day is just starting, nothing stops. That's not good for my mental health, and it's going to make me suffer. So I try to keep everything as balanced as I can. It's okay if you fall off every now and then, but just time management and really compartmentalizing what's important in your life, very crucial. I think I have time for one more question. My kids have to go down for Mimi time, so one more question. I'm 21 and I recently just moved in with my boyfriend of 8 months. Do you have any advice? Yes. I moved in with David very, very soon into our relationship. And if there's any piece of advice that I can give you about moving in with your mans, is be very understanding and aware that you guys were raised differently. And what I mean by that is there are going to be certain things that you find are different than how you were raised, what you are used to doing, how you are used to living, because they weren't raised in the same household as you. They don't have the same customs. They don't do things the same way. And that could be from major decisions all the way down to something as minuscule as how you fold towels. Like, you will start seeing that not everybody was raised the same. Come up with your own traditions and be open-minded to how the other person was raised, instead of going into the situation being like, what I do, what I say, and how I was taught is the right way. And I learned this because I think it really was the towels, where David and I had just moved in together, and we were doing laundry together. He was folding shit one way, I was folding shit another, and I looked over and I was like, oh, that's different. And he looked at me and he said, hey, thanks for saying that it's different and not that it's wrong. Telling somebody the way that they were raised was wrong can be really hurtful, when something as simple as a vocabulary switch of just saying, hey, that's different, can make all the difference in the world. Even if you don't like the way that they're doing it, this is where you guys can come up with a new tradition together. But it's just about respecting how each other was raised, and just the little quirks each person has, and not immediately saying how you do things is wrong and how I do things is right, because girl, that can start fights real quick. So be kind to each other, be understanding, and really just have fun with implementing your own traditions, because it truly is the best, and it's so much fun. Congrats on your move-in, girl. I hope everything works out. Anyways, y'all, that is it for my Ask Nikki for today. I have another Ask Nikki that I'm going to be filming tomorrow. If you would like your chance to submit your own Ask Nikki, definitely follow me on my Instagram. I will leave my socials here for you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and of course, I would love to have your 2 cents. I used to have the polls, but YouTube definitely did away with that, because they just love making me sad. If you're not a part of my glam fam, I would love to have your fine ass. We have so much fun here. If you would like some more Nikki in your life, I do have explicit story times and my true crime series, Kush N Crime. Yes, Kush N Crime on my OnlyFans. I will leave that link down in my description box below for you as well if you're interested. And every time I drop a new video over there, I do give away 10 free trial links for any of you guys that are interested. So make sure you follow me on my socials so that you can have a chance to get one of those. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for being down for my ass. I love you so much, and I will see your fine ass in my next video. Peace out, y'all.